Hello and welcome back to Showmakers. Today we have Dianna Cowern, who you may also know as PhysicsGirl. Welcome to the show and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we really want to get to know on our show, we like to get to know our creators and how they started on YouTube and what kind of led them into that path of making educational content for YouTube. Like, what was your early days on YouTube like? Like, how did you get into it in the first place? And what were your motivations?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. This is like the most common question, and it's the one that I'm most interested in asking other YouTubers too. But I feel like this story is just so similar for everybody, right? Like, I'm sure you guys have heard this from a lot of people already, that they were interested in whatever they were doing. Like, I was into physics and I was into science communication, and then YouTube was the obvious platform. It was like, there's nothing else. I guess if you had jumped in at the right time, you could have done 6-second Vine videos of science communication.
Yeah.
But no, I loved physics, and I had been into science communication since high school. I actually made this random science podcast video 10 years ago for a high school senior project. So it had always been something I was interested in, but YouTube was like the way to get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the thing that we all have in common is that passion for science and communicating it and trying to inspire other people mainly to study it or just be interested in it.
Yeah.
But I think what differentiates us is how we kind of got introduced to YouTube itself and how we kind of approached it and what our current lives were like when we started as well.
Yeah, that's true.
You were studying physics in college, right?
I studied physics. I went to MIT in Boston, and so I graduated kind of with no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and that wasn't very common at MIT. It was, I don't know what it was. It was like where you guys studied, but everyone kind of had a path in mind. Everyone at MIT was like, yep, I'm going to go work in investment banking. I'm going to be making 6 figures right out of college. I'm going to be, working at Apple designing the new iPhone. And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea what I want to do. So, I was working other jobs when I started my YouTube channel, but the original channel was not a science channel. My original PhysicsGirl channel that actually started out as Physics Woman, because PhysicsGirl was taken, was about what to do with a physics degree. And my aim was to make 101 videos about what to do with a physics degree. And it was going to be like all the things that I had wanted to do when I was in college and didn't have time. So it was like, I wanted to go skydiving. I wanted to go wake surfing. I wanted to be in a parade, like random things that like you can do with a physics degree, because the physics degree is not actually useful for anything in physics. Which of course is not true, but like I was just making fun of the fact that you don't have many practical skills when you leave college.
So when you started the current iteration of PhysicsGirl, did you have this in mind as your future job, or was it a side project?
It was definitely a side project, but I think it was more of like, I imagined that I wanted to get into science communication in some shape or form, but I had not really done any of it before. And so that was my way of like building up a resume. Like I started the channel, and then interspersed in the 101 things to do with a physics degree was actually a couple videos about science. And people were like there were actually some random people watching the videos, and they were like, you should do this. You should just stick to this. And I was like, who are these people watching my channel? Yeah. So I started the current version kind of intermixed with the old version of PhysicsGirl. How
easy was it to grow that channel?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I feel lucky in that, I feel like I've reached a level. I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I think that it wasn't easy initially, but I don't think I was really trying to grow it initially. Like, I think it was more just like, this is fun. I'm exploring. I'm trying to build up a resume, get some experience in doing science communication, but it wasn't like the YouTube channel was not my end goal. And I hadn't seen many people that had done successful YouTube channels at that time. Back then I had seen Veritasium, Minute Physics, and ASAP Science. And those were the only 3. And Vihart, of course. Love her. Those are the only 4, I guess, that I had seen. And I was like, oh, wow, they do this. But like, that's for a select few people. Like, this is something I can try to learn from and try to do myself, but not with being successful on YouTube as the end goal. More, it was like wanting to get the experience of trying something out and being exploratory.
And you were obviously enjoying it too, which is, I think, the main thing.
Yeah. I think we all do. I mean, I think it gets harder as your channel grows. And also I now have a schedule with PBS. And so that keeps me on track as someone who's a bit scatterbrained. But I don't know, do you try to keep to a pretty consistent schedule on your channels?
I do.
Sam does a good job of.
I do every 2 weeks.
I try to, but only one of us actually manages to do it.
It's definitely useful.
Every 2 weeks.
Because when you don't have a boss, you kind of need a boss, and that's your boss, the schedule.
Right. Mm-hmm.
At least personally, I do.
Which totally makes sense. I think every 2 weeks is totally reasonable. And I'm thinking that's what I'm going to aim for this coming year. But it's been slightly more than that. It's been like 2 every 3 weeks for the last 2 years. And I'm starting to feel like as my channel's growing and I have like I have a higher standard for myself. and I feel like my audience also has a higher standard for me too. Then I feel like I want to spend just a little bit more time on each of the videos.
Yeah, there's definitely merit to doing fewer videos. I'm considering doing the same thing too, as long as you can kind of balance the books and everything. And
exactly.
It makes sense. More quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm finding that at the moment that when I started trying to do the schedule, I'm getting more stressed about the quality of what I'm putting out. That I'm not giving myself enough time to rewrite things or redo audio or like put that little extra polishing touch on animations and things like that. So there's definitely a balance there to the quantity over quality thing.
And I'm no perfectionist by any means, but I feel like more errors slip through when I upload too quickly. Like I'll have just a little stupid error, like the silliest errors, not like I got the physics wrong, but like I made a calculation error or I made a bar graph that has the wrong height or something. Like those are the errors that bug me so much. And they slip through much more if you're just trying to get things out so fast and focusing on everything.
We were actually talking about this just last weekend. Myself and Sam and Joseph from Real Life Lore were in DC for that Playlist Live event. We're discussing.
Oh, nice.
Have you seen the College Humor did the Adam Ruins Everything, but they did a recap of all the mistakes they've got wrong on that show. And they did it really tastefully. I really liked it. I was like, now I want to do something like that because there's nearly always some like little problem wrong with my videos, and it would be cool. I think that gives you more credibility rather than taking away from to point out the mistakes you've made. Right.
And I mean, sometimes I'll just completely take the video down. Like, one of them was a bar graph. It was, typically what ends up, I mean, some of the errors are completely 100% my fault. I put something that's wrong. But I now have an animator and an editor, and sometimes there's some lost communication, and then I don't catch errors that are made, by one of them or by a drawing that I gave to them that was misinterpreted or something. So that, again, totally on me as the executive producer or whatever you want to call it. But in that kind of case, I'll be like, oh man, like I can't leave something like that up. Like I'm enough of a perfectionist as a physicist or as a scientist that like, if the bar graph reads the wrong height, I just don't want to have that up. I don't want to have it be like, there are some errors I don't care about and some I do. And I feel like precision of like very interpretable graphics is something that I care about.
Right. Yeah. No, like especially for a science channel, it's so important to have things accurate because you're trying to educate people, not like spread fallacies.
Exactly. And if someone takes a screenshot of that later, and if there's like, that happens. I'm sure it happens to you guys too. If someone takes a screenshot and is like, I'm, trying to show something just with a screen cap of my video, and it happens to be something that has an error, that I don't want that out there either.
Like, what would you say your biggest mistake, like for a video you actually took down? Like the graph doesn't seem to be that huge of an issue.
Yeah. Let's see. I can only remember recent videos that I've taken down. One of them was a video that I had taken down. It was a video I made a couple weeks ago about solar eclipses, and I said that Jupiter had 12 moons or something like that, and it has like 69. And wow. So I also have a writer / researcher who works on, I would say now she works on like every 4 videos. She'll either write a full script for me or do the research behind the video. She used to do a lot more, and she's amazing. Her name is Sophia Chen, and she also she has a master's in physics. So there are multiple physics girls behind the scenes. Yeah. So Sophia had written that number, and again, like, it's the kind of thing where like I had rushed this script and I had been like, yeah, we got to get this out really fast. And so she did, her best job. And I didn't catch it either. I didn't catch that error. And I also have a fact checker that just goes through so that when we're moving really quickly, there's someone else just like keeping an eye on the little details and the little numbers. And that one slipped through from all of us. And so I was like, oh man, when I put that up, I had to take it down.
Mm-hmm.
As I said in previous episodes, I've been using FreshBooks to keep track of my expenses. Just this month, Sam, Joseph from Real Life Lore, and I visited Washington, D.C. for Playlist Live, and I got some footage in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. These kind of trips can be expensive, and I need to keep track of what I'm spending for business tax returns, and FreshBooks makes that really easy. FreshBooks is a ridiculously easy-to-use online accounting software designed to help creative entrepreneurs get organized, save time, and get paid faster, giving you more time to do what really makes your money. FreshBooks allows you to quickly create and send invoices in about 30 seconds. There's no formulas or formatting, just perfectly crafted invoices every time. Your clients can pay you online, which often means you end up getting paid a lot faster. If a client forgets to pay you on time, FreshBooks will handle the awkwardness with customizable late payment reminders. But the big selling point for me was their expense tracking. The mobile app allows you to take pictures of your receipts, and FreshBooks organizes them for later. FreshBooks also automatically imports expenses directly from your bank account. So next time you use your debit card for that business lunch, watch the transaction magically appear in your FreshBooks account without worrying about losing that receipt. If you are a freelancer, FreshBooks will also handle your time tracking. So when it comes time to create that invoice, you'll know what you did and when you did it. All this information is kept in one place, so when it comes to keeping track of your finances and paying your taxes, everything is organized and easy to find. To claim your free month, go to freshbooks.com/showmakers. That's FRESHBOOKS.com.
It's unfortunate that there isn't a way of fixing these things on YouTube after the fact.
I know. But you can imagine why they don't want that, right? Like you can imagine someone who's got a viral video and doesn't want to suddenly replace the entire video or a couple.
They could easily set up some sort of like system that you can't just do it willy-nilly. You have to go through approval of like applying. Like I'd like.
Oh yeah,
to
but that takes years with
say,
YouTube. Anything that needs manual approval.
Yeah.
But really.
Or you pay for it, right? They could make money off of like. I would pay $5. I'd probably pay more than that to not have to take the video down and put it back up.
So yeah, it's worth.
I would pay.
I'd pay.
Especially if it's a sponsored video, that would be worth a lot to be able to fix things without having to take down the entire video, because you may not get the same amount of views when you re-upload it again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Surely there could be some way where you can only like change a certain percentage of the video. Like you can only change up to 10% of the visual content or something. Or just change the audio track if there's like a music copyright issue or something.
Yeah. You could make some radical changes with a 10% change, though, something that would completely change the message of the video. which I guess would be the worrying thing.
Maybe there should be like a requirement where it's only, big channels or only, I don't know, YouTube partners and isn't like a exclusive thing, but like.
Yeah. I mean, YouTube did this themselves recently when they released that YouTube Heroes video. And the original video had different messaging in it than the new video, and it was at the same URL. So it's obviously possible.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder what I wasn't aware of that. I don't know what the YouTube Heroes video is, but it seems like something totally doable. And it honestly just seems like they'd have to replace the entire video, but keep it at the same URL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be super, super helpful. For them, the YouTube Hero things was the thing about having community moderators. And a lot of people just took it that it was some sort of like anti-free speech thing or something. And they changed the messaging in it somehow to make it seem a little less... I don't know what word you'd use there. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
I think, that's smart. It's probably a good move to keep it at the same place. Once they're getting a reaction from their audience. I would totally do that. I feel like it's doable and it would be reasonable. I think that, I know that this has been suggested. I know it's been requested. I know it's been tweeted many, many, many times. There's no way of requesting, I think, quite as strongly as hundreds of thousands of retweets on Twitter. There's nothing like that on YouTube. I guess you could make a video that goes viral.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've run across the idea plenty of times. Sure they have a pretty good reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can
Why not to do it?
remove sections of the video.
Can you?
Right? In the YouTube editor. I'm pretty sure you can remove small sections out of the video. I'm pretty sure Braincraft said that at the VidCon, her panel, that there's one of her videos where there's something wrong and she just removed that small bit that was wrong, but then there's this awkward jump cut in the middle of it.
Well, aren't they removing? Yeah. They're removing the YouTube editor anyway. So.
And
they're
removing everything good.
And that annotation was the one way that was like, okay, I can at least put a sign here saying that I know.
It seems like they're trying to like simplify everything, especially with the new redesign and everything. It's just a massive simplification.
I think probably the inspiration behind that, the reason why they're doing it is to make everything mobile friendly, because like annotations didn't even show up on mobile, and coding for mobile is just so different, and the way it appears is so different. They were trying to make everything mobile friendly.
My problem with a new, is it cards? Are they called cards? I think they're called cards.
Yeah.
Is that they're only the last 20 seconds?
Cards.
Which is,
Yeah.
I don't even know how they work. You're talking about the end screen.
Oh yeah. The end cards. Yeah, that's what they're actually called.
End cards. Yeah. Because then there's cards during the actual video, and I don't fully get how those work.
Those are weird. But the end card, the restriction of the end card only existing for the last 20 seconds means that collaborations are now massively less useful, because you can't put an annotation halfway through the video saying go check out this video, and we know. Even if it's just 5 more seconds, that's thousands of less viewers going to another channel.
Yeah, exactly. And I also put I had some extra footage in a recent video that was like a funny conversation between me and the people that I was featuring, and I wanted to keep it in, but it didn't really fit in the flow of the video. So I did the credits, and then I led the credits into that, which was another minute and a half. And I would have loved to have the end cards in the middle of the video to be middle cards. But it didn't, I kept it like that because I didn't think it made sense to have that anywhere else. But the result was that, I couldn't put any links. I couldn't put any kind of cards or anything right there.
Mm-hmm.
Frustrating. Are you working on any exciting projects that you can talk about? This will air in probably 2 weeks, so cool. In case you're worried about giving away any information on upcoming videos.
Yeah, I never care. I don't think sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't tweet about this. There's got to be a surprise. And I'm like, no, like the percentage of people that are reading my tweets or who are looking at the other social media that I do don't care about getting a little spoiler about what a video is.
So just building hype.
Yeah, I'll give a little hype. I'm super excited about the video we filmed 2 days ago, which was a friend of mine, Dan Walsh, who's a physicist here at UCSD, just randomly sent me a text message. And he was like, what would happen if you put a candle inside a box and dropped it with a GoPro inside so that you were basically simulating 0G. So I was like, that's amazing. Let's just do it. So we did it. I was like, come over now. So we drove to Home Depot, got all the materials and set up a box. We designed a little box that we could drop and catch in a sheet with a GoPro inside and lit a candle, and we tried it, and it was amazing. So I'm going to save the results for what we saw for the video.
So you are saving a bit of it for yourself.
I'm saving a bit of it, but it was really, really cool. I'll just say that it did not disappoint. It worked much better than expected. And we got some footage of the GoPro and the candle inside this black box we made. That's
amazing. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love how excited you got about describing it. Like, it's obvious that there's passion there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some videos, like, the ones where Sophia writes a script or where I'm just doing something expository. When she writes a script, I often learn something from reading that or doing research to add to it or edit. I enjoy that process, but the actual process of making the video is just like going into a studio and then coming up with visuals that go along with this expository script. And I used to enjoy that more. I think I used to enjoy like the creative process of that, but now much more I enjoy doing something, like going out there, making something and working with friends on it and, designing this box and making it and thinking about what's going to happen and sort of more of an engineering process, I guess.
Yeah.
And just trying something, just like making a demo, I think is really fun.
I'm very jealous. I kind of feel that at the moment. The research phase, I still love. I don't think I'll ever stop learning stop loving to learn. Like, it's just, that's why I wanted to do this in the first place, of just being able to pick a subject that I'm interested about and learn about it.
Exactly.
The production phase has definitely got a bit more tedious because it's kind of hit a rhythm where I'm really comfortable with it and I'm not really learning and I'm not challenged. So I'm trying to
exactly
up myself now, trying to put up the production value just to make it a little bit more interesting for myself again.
To keep yourself interested.
Yeah. But it was funny.
I totally get that. That's exactly how I feel. I mean, I think that we all love learning. We all really enjoy teaching ourselves. And when you have to teach something, like, you learn it so well. So having to make a video about it, you just pay attention to the details of a topic so much more than you would otherwise. So I love that part. I really enjoy the part of learning and researching. And like you said, I don't think I'll ever not enjoy that part. But sometimes I don't even get to do it. If Sophia's writing a script or she's doing the research, I miss out on that portion. And I read her script and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is fascinating. And just by reading what she's written is fun too. But it doesn't last very long.
How have you felt that? And when did she start working for you?
Maybe a year ago. Maybe a year and a half ago. Yeah. So she's been, it depends what kind of video making. So obviously she won't write a script for something like we made on Monday where we're just doing something, we're creating something. And then sometimes she won't write a script sometimes I'll have her do some extra research on something for me and then I'll write the script. But a lot of times, she'll write the outline of a script and then I will go through and just re-edit it to make it PhysicsGirlified, to make it like more, my style and how I would speak and things. And I often don't really stick completely to a script anyways. So it's more for the content. Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little bit of help with writing scripts from Mike, my animator. Who also happens to be an engineer. But
awesome.
That's one thing I have noticed, is that sometimes I have to change the wording, so I feel like it's my own voice that's saying it. Because sometimes when someone else writes it, it's like, I would never say that.
No, it's so true. I have a very specific style, and I grew up in Hawaii. I'm very laid back, I guess, is the way that I talk. I'm not a formal talker by any means. And Sophia she writes for Wired, and she writes for a lot of other written publications. And so what we've noticed is, her style will be much more, it'll come across much better when you're reading it than when you're speaking it. And so it just works for us. Like, we've worked out this method where she'll write the script and I'll go through and put it in my words. But again, like, we don't do as many videos like that anymore because I've been trying to do more and more of them, like an experiential kind of video. So for those ones, she'll just do the research or help me find a little bit more or brainstorming with me or coming up with some ideas. But it's wonderful having somebody else there to bounce ideas off of, because I'm sure like, it gets hard doing all this by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the one thing that everyone gets a little bit surprised about when working in YouTube, that it can get pretty lonely, especially in the educational space anyways.
Yeah. It's much harder, I think, to collaborate in the educational space than like vlogs or something. Because like on a vlog, you can just be like, my friend's here today. Like, let's talk about the cake we're going to bake or whatever. But you have to plan so much for...
Also, because everyone's in LA.
That too.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, you have to plan so much when you're doing an educational collaboration.
Yeah, and you can almost never do it in person. I've never, at least. Well, that's because I don't go on camera, but
right.
No. Let's see. Nobody that I personally know during the education Actually, no, that's not true. Well, I don't know anyone in Scotland, at least, doing education.
That's a hard one. That's from a smaller population to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking I don't know anyone in the UK, but that's not true. But there's like 3 people probably that I know in the UK doing educational videos, maybe 4 actually. Big country, and that's the same with everyone. I know Brian. Is there anyone? You don't even know anyone in Ireland doing that, right?
I found one, but he's not really active anymore.
Oh wow!
We don't really know him.
Yeah.
Someone just tagged like my 2 favorite Irish educational people. I was like, what? There's 2?
I think of the educational people that I know the best, and like they're in Alabama, Dustin's there,
Mm-hmm.
and Toronto, the ASAP Science guy. Are they? Yeah, they're in Toronto. And then Derek's up in LA, Simone's up in San Francisco. So like the closest is Derek, but he's not even the closest because he travels more than he's at home. That's the problem too, is that the people that travel a lot.
Like, even I'm in New York. I don't think I've recorded a single episode of this show in the same location yet. And people
really?
have probably noticed that my audio quality is awful for this video.
At least you're not in a pillow fort this time.
No, I'm in a smelly toilet.
There's some people...
with people walking outside.
There's some educational YouTubers in New York, though. Vanessa from Braincraft and Matt from Spacetime, they're all in New York.
Yeah, there's loads of people here.
2. I named 2.
Well, there seems to be...
2.
Jake
That's
is here
loads.
too. Jake Roper.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he travels a lot too.
Well,
though.
kind of. He kind of commutes between
New York and LA.
And New York. Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the great things about the educational community is everyone is pretty buddy. Like everyone, I've met nearly everyone at some stage. Most people at VidCon now, and I only got to like briefly talk to you there. But I think it's only Derek from Veritasium, and probably Simone that I haven't met yet.
Yeah. Who's questionably in the educational space.
Yeah.
Simone's definitely in engineering, but she's much more entertaining than educational.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's definitely entertainment, but what I find really valuable about that is that it's like a role model in engineering, which I really like.
Absolutely.
It's really, really cool.
She's my role model.
And she's just hilarious.
Like most guys, I'm not a huge fan of walking around clothing stores trying to find clothes that I like, but I do like getting new clothes, so if I could find a way to change the process, I would. Well, that's exactly what Bombfell does. You simply fill out a questionnaire about the clothes that you like, and then you'll be matched with your own personal stylist that will pick new clothes for you each month. My stylist picked out some clothes that I normally wouldn't wear in my first preview, but I simply asked him to try again before shipping. The second choices were much better and they shipped these items out. They fit perfectly and I decided to keep them, but if I didn't like them, I had 7 days to send them back free of charge. You simply keep and pay for what you want. Your stylist will stay with you too, so they can learn what you like and what fits you best. If removing the stress of walking around crowded clothing stores sounds good, we have your back with $25 off your first order. Just go to bombfell.com/showmakers. That's BOMBFELL.com.
But you got shouted out on like Home and Away before, didn't you? That Australian TV show.
Oh, there was I don't even remember the name of it. It was like an Australian
It was Neighbours. Was it Neighbours or Home and Away? Yeah.
It was Neighbours. I didn't know what it was. I was actually with Derek when I found out about that, because he's Australian. So we were together collaborating with Y Penser, which is a French YouTube channel in Paris. So we were there, and I got this tweet, and I was like, I got shouted out on this show called Neighbours. Have you heard of it? And he was like, what? I guess it's just a big soap opera in Australia, which I mean, Australian TV doesn't make it over the pond that often, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that show would be pretty big in Ireland. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, holy shit. But that's where, what's her name? The girl that was in the Joker, not the Joker movie, the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, yeah.
I forget her name.
She was also in, man, if there's anything
Street.
I'm horrible at, it's at, oh, yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. That's the one. That's the movie I was just going to say. I didn't remember the name
Margot
of.
Robbie. She got her start with Neighbours, yeah.
So for me and, the other people who are listening, what was the shout out and what is this show? There are listeners to this show.
This is why we have
listeners.
Sam. This is why we have Sam on the show.
Yeah. Bringing it back to real life. So Neighbours is a soap opera in Australia, and I don't know who the character was, but he was talking about YouTube channels or something, and he was like, I don't remember what he said. I'm going to say it wrong. He just said something about like PhysicsGirl. Like, that's what I like about Dianna Cowern, is that she makes it understandable for the general public or something like that. It was just like a shout out to my YouTube channel, which was very strange.
Just in the narrative of the show?
In the narrative of the show. There must have been a writer that was a fan of physics. YouTube channels.
That's really cool and a little bit weird at the same time.
I know, it's very strange. It's not where you expect to get a shout out when you start a YouTube channel about physics.
Yeah, well, so cool.
Yeah,
I remember I heard I think I heard like a reference to a CGP Grey video on the radio once.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got really, really excited.
That's awesome.
Similar situation.
Yeah.
It's just like whenever like anything from YouTube makes it out into the real world, even if it's not anything about me, I get really, really excited.
Yep.
As anyone does, really. It's
Absolutely.
like, hey, this isn't just some dream space or whatever. Inception.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's so interesting how insulated the YouTube and the social media world is, though, from traditional media. It's just like I feel like some people are still so, I don't know, opposed. Is that the right word? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people in traditional media are almost just like bitter about the fact that social media is taking off.
I think it's doing so well. Threatened.
It's taking their business.
Yeah. It's like Uber and the cabs.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's exactly like that, but
well, it kind of is, because YouTube's serving the same purpose for the viewers, just for much less money. It costs hundreds of times less to make a good YouTube video than a good TV show or whatever.
Exactly. And you get to choose what you want and when you want it and where you want it. Just like Lyft.
And the power of the connection between the creator and viewer is like super strong, and TV doesn't get that at all, really.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you guys have Lyft and Uber over there?
We have Uber.
I don't
no
have
Lyft
either.
yet. Oh, really? Not an island?
Not in the West. You get it in Dublin a little bit, but I think Uber is illegal. Not illegal, but you have to have a taxi license in Ireland. So it's just taxi drivers using Uber to make bookings.
Right.
Yeah, you also need a license in the UK, like a private driver license. Yeah. So it's a little harder to do, but still sense, though. Works well.
Yeah, I mean, I was picked up by I used Lyft in Boston, and I was picked up by a cab. Like, it was just a van with a taxi sign on the top, which is the first time that had happened to me. I knew that there were people who drove taxis as well, but this was the first time I'd been picked up by a taxi cab. It was pretty cool. And I was like, this is interesting. And the guy was like, if you can't beat them, you join them. He was so joyful.
So I've just had it playing in the background, and I don't really have a legitimate question here, but you went on one of these zero gravity planes?
Yes, I did.
That looks so cool.
Oh my gosh!
Since I don't really have a question, can you just tell me about it? I just want to hear about it.
Do I want to relive it? Sure. Yeah. So that was the collaboration that I had done with Derek and Bruce from Y Pensée. So we flew out to Paris and then drove down to we took the train down to Bordeaux, which is where the plane takes off. So there's a French company that does zero G planes there, and they take off out of Bordeaux. It was amazing. I think it was the coolest thing I've ever done. And I think that it's going to be the coolest thing that I've ever done for a long time until, I don't know, I have like a child or something. Let's see what to describe about it. This was different than most zero G flights because a lot of them are commercial that people go on, but this was a training flight for the pilots, which sounds sketchy, but what it meant was that the pilots have to keep up every so often, like a certain number of months, they have to do a zero G flight so that they keep up their skills. So this was a training flight for the pilots, and they decided to invite some people. They just wanted to offer the opportunity to go. So they invited Bruce. They'd been trying to get him to come for a while. And then they invited on a dancer. So we had a dancer on our flight, but it was much less crowded than a typical flight. So we got a lot more space to try some experiments and to do some, like group spinning. We linked arms. Me and Derek's fiance, Raquel, and Bruce all linked arms in a circle, and they picked us up and spun us in a circle while we were floating in zero G. So we did amazing things like that. And the feeling of it was, I think, the best part. So it feels like for the start, so you first go into like and it's not a dive yet. It's like a pull up, I guess, where you're feeling about 2 Gs. It's like 1.9 Gs before you feel 0 G. So the plane has to pull up to get some acceleration going upwards. And then it starts the parabola where you feel weightless. And then it does a pull out. And so during the pull up, at the beginning of the parabola and the pull out at the end of the parabola, you feel 2 Gs. So you feel like you're pressed really hard into the floor. And usually you lie down for that. You can stand if you want, but you get dizzy pretty fast. So you feel that for a while. And as soon as you transition from the 2 Gs to the 0 Gs, that's when you feel for a second like you're just falling. And that part's a little nerve-wracking. That part's a little scary for me. It's like, you're going from feeling so much gravity to suddenly feeling none. So that's when your stomach lurches. And then once you feel weightless, you're like, oh my God, I'm just floating in the air. Like, you just feel like, okay, you go back and watch our videos, all three of us. As soon as we feel weightless for the first time, all we're saying is just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because it just feels like you're floating in the air. You can push off the walls and you're floating and it doesn't feel like you're falling. And then it pulls out into the 1.9 Gs again, and you lie down on the floor. You feel like you're pressed into the floor. It's like a hug into the floor, and then it's over. Yeah. And then they do that 15 more times.
I haven't seen very many of these kind of videos where everyone ends it with their lunch still inside of them.
Yeah.
And it looks like it went pretty well in this one.
Yeah.
At least from what the video shows.
It went very well for us. Despite being called the vomit comet, we did not vomit. We actually got some shots that are supposed to, I think they're the same kind of shots that fighter pilots take. I don't know what the substance was, but it's supposed to decrease motion sickness. So we all got those, fortunately. And then we did fewer parabolas than a lot of other planes. So like we ended up doing, I think, 14 0G parabolas and then 2 Mars gravity, or we did 13 0G, 2 moon gravity and 1 Mars gravity, I think is what we did. So on the other 2, you could feel what it felt like to be on Mars or to be on the moon, as far as the pull of gravity there. So we didn't do as many as like, I don't know, some planes go and do 35 or 40 or something. So after that many times of pulling up and doing a parabola and coming back out, I think you're just much more likely to lose your lunch.
Yep.
And is this like a reasonable thing that like anyone could do in terms of pricing? Like you don't need to give exact pricing or anything. But...
Oh, I mean, yeah, we were fortunate enough to get invited. So, we just had to, basically Bruce was like, you can come, you just have to get yourself to Paris. So that was the biggest cost was the trip out there to Paris. Mm-hmm. And I ended up spending a little bit more time out in the UK and, I collaborated with Zach Wienersmith, who was out there at the same time. So I made sort of more of a thing of it, but for the average flight, that is commercial, I think it's around $5,000.
Yeah, I just looked it up on Google. $4,950 plus 5% tax. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, definitely not business expensing that.
I mean, I think that it's the kind of thing that, like, you save for and one day you do. I had been thinking, like, I had told myself, Simone got to go on one, and my friend Emily Calandrali had got to go on 3 of them at this point. So I've been thinking like, man, all my friends are getting to go. I've just been dreaming about it for so long. I'm going to put it in like on my bucket list, and years from now, maybe a decade from now, like it's going to happen. I'll save up for it. But then Bruce reached out and sort of Miracle Bruce came through and was like, do you want to come on this one? So I owe everything to Bruce. I owe the best experience of my life to Y Penser.
Right now I'm saving up for my going to space fund. I feel like I'm young enough where instead of just saving up for this, I can save up to go on Virgin Galactic or something. Oh, yeah.
And hopefully the prices of that will come down from like $1 billion at some point.
Maybe they'll do some media flights. I'm kind of media, right?
Yeah.
Sure, I can sell out in some way.
You need to start making vlogs.
I do need to start making vlogs.
Mm-hmm. Then you get invited to all the things.
I'll just title the vlog channel "Selling Out for Virgin Galactic."
Just call it "Selling Out."
That too. That would work too. That's a good idea.
That's got to take a lot of courage though to choose Virgin Galactic. You got to make
That's true. Yeah.
You got to make a decision on who's going to take you when you make the channel.
Or I could just create like 7 channels and do different videos, the exact same video, but upload it 7 times.
That's problem solving.
Yeah.
So this was definitely the coolest thing that I have done for YouTube. What about you guys? What do you think the coolest thing you've done for YouTube has been so far?
I went to the Arctic Circle. That was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, yeah, it was cool. That reaction just seemed a little overdramatic.
I would love to go to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, well, I went to Barrow, Alaska, which is America's northernmost city. That was very cool.
Oh, man. Did you see the Northern Lights?
No, because it was summer, so it was 24-hour sunlight.
Oh,
so
man.
it was, midnight sun, which was weird and cool at the same time.
And what was the weather like there?
Oh, well, it was like sunny for like 30 minutes when we got in, and then clouds. We were there for 2 nights, 3 days, I think. Yeah. And then it was like cloudy until about 30 minutes until we left, mixed in with some snow. Mm. And this was this was is that Memorial Day? I think Memorial Day weekend. So that was May 30th to like June 1st, I think. And it's the warmest it got was 37 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
It was weird. The video's on my channel if you want to check it out. It's just about Barrow, but it was on one hand a really good experience for like learning how to shoot on location.
Yeah.
But also it was not like an easy place to shoot on location because there were a bunch of difficulties just with like it was always windy, so audio sucked.
Yeah.
We had an interview with the mayor, and like he had the loudest AC in the world, or I don't know what it was. It wasn't AC, but he had the loudest thing in the world in his thing, and he had the most hovering PR person in the world. We couldn't even ask a question directly to the mayor. You had to send it through the PR person unless it was already on the list. And
oh man!
Also, we were in the Arctic Circle, and Wi-Fi was like non-existent. Cell phone service was non-existent.
Yeah.
It was just muddy all over the place because it was like slightly above freezing. So in the day, it's all the day, but in the actual day, so everything was muddy. And also it was within 5 miles of an airport, so we had to get FAA permission to use the drone.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
But it was very cool at the same time.
So it sounds like kind of a typical work trip. Like everyone thinks that's so cool. You get to go to this amazing location, but there's a lot of work to be done and you have to worry about things going right and not going wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it was a work trip. I'm just having a flashback to this image I saw as I was, this scene I saw at the airport of this guy who was obviously like an IT consultant or something in the airport of Barrow, just as I was leaving. And he looked a little traumatized.
Yeah.
as obviously he was just sent to Barrow. Barrow, where's that? Oh, I'm just going to go there, take my flight there. And you end up there and you're literally on the top of the world looking out on the Arctic Ocean and sea ice and everything. And it's not like a very, it's just not a hospitable place in general. So it was like a really good, like diving into the deep end. Cause that was kind of the second really, but the first video that was purpose built kind of around being shot on location.
Yeah. And where did you stay?
There are kind of hotels.
Okay.
Because it's actually the title of the video was why the northernmost town in America exists. Because it's kind of strangely large for being in such a kind of desolate place.
Right.
It has like 5,000 inhabitants.
Oh, okay.
Which for that far north is pretty large. I mean, it has grocery stores and Wi-Fi, and it has daily, multiple flights per day on like a jet from Anchorage.
Oh, wow. That's the price.
It's not hard to get to. It's not like you're, walking across the Arctic tundra for 4 days to get there, or driving over the Arctic tundra or whatever else.
Yeah.
You can fly there very easily from Anchorage in, an hour and a half and $300.
Right.
So that was also kind of a reason why I was interested in it. But now that video ended up being pretty popular because it was pretty cool, I think. Not really because I did anything cool, it's because it was a very cool location. So we're kind of and I also did it in collaboration with Real Life Lore and the channel Second Thought. So we're kind of looking how we can up our game next year.
Yeah.
Because up our game for the next iteration.
Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of faceless channels, so I think we're all kind of looking forward to being able to do more on location shooting in like cool places like that.
Yeah,
it's really one of the biggest kind of benefit. It's not weird to call it a benefit, but like that's a big part that I like about this job is being able to go to a place like Barrow, it's almost an excuse to go there.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the kind of place where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go on vacation to Barrow. But it's like, it'd be really cool to visit Barrow. Now, how can I find the excuse to go there?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think I would have gone to DC this weekend if it wasn't for the playlist thing. I had this idea in my head that Washington was going to be like a really boring, kind of bland place. It's really pretty, but then I know you're from here. Yeah, I just had weird misconceptions about the place. It's actually gorgeous. But then, like, Sam saw my reaction going into the Smithsonian Museum, the Air and Space. And it's like, I am so happy right now. This is like my mecca. I think that's probably my favorite place I've got to visit with the channel so far. I haven't got to do anything cool
amazing.
yet, but this is like, that was literally, I've been wanting to go there since I was a little kid. It's like, this is so cool.
How long did you spend in it?
4 hours, I think.
4 hours. It got a little.
That's so great.
It got a little tiring at the end, waiting for Brian. Considering I grew up in DC, so I've been there like a million times.
Okay, yeah. And all the museums there are free. Is that right?
What?
All the museums there are free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So I just went up to the tower and watched airplane lands for the last hour while Brian finished up.
while Brian finished up his Mecca.
I could have spent another 3-4 hours in there just like looking at everything. It's so cool. Then we spent more time up in the tower taking footage of like the 757 that came in and the A380. So we're both airplane nerds.
Yeah. I used to visit Boston every summer because my parents, I grew up in Hawaii, but my grandparents lived in Cape Cod. So we would fly through Boston every year. And I spent many, 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 many hours in the Science Museum there and in the math room specifically, just staring at like these incredible sculptures that used math and geometry, like kinetic sculptures. And oh my God, I spent so much time there. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Air and Space Museum would be quite the one for me, but the math room in the Science Museum in Boston, we have a special bond.
They have a space shuttle there, just saying. They have a real space shuttle.
That's cool. There's one now here
and a Blackbird.
I don't think there's a Blackbird. There's a museum in LA that has a space shuttle. It has Discovery, I think.
Oh, that's actually the real one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? The one I was looking at wasn't the real one?
No, that's the real one. But weirdly, like we had the, I think it was the Enterprise at the Aerospace Museum here, which was a prototype. Or I was like, was it a prototype? It was a real one, but it never flew.
Okay.
Kind of.
Do they make like a real one for testing or like in case something happens to the other one?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't think it was functional, but we sent that one because when they were all retired, we sent that one to New York. So it's now on the Intrepid in New York, which, Brian, you should definitely visit while you're there. Mm-hmm. And we now have the... Oh, Brian, do you remember which one it was?
Where?
Which space shuttle it was at the Air and Space Museum?
I thought it was the Discovery.
I think it was the Discovery.
Huh. Well, now I don't know. Maybe we have Endeavor.
I do remember there being one in LA, but when they brought it to DC, they did a flyover on top of the 747 that it used to fly around. And I remember this was maybe 5 years ago, I think. So I went up on the roof and watched it fly over. And it was like half a mile away and maybe 500 feet above the ground. So it was really cool.
That's amazing. Ugh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, the Endeavor is the one at the California Science Center in LA. Yeah. And that one they brought through the streets. Like they carted it, I don't know, like an inch per second or something like that.
Yeah. I think I remember photos from that.
Yeah. It was a pretty big ordeal.
Both Sam and I use stock footage and images to make our videos. In fact, neither of our channels would have been possible without Storyblocks. They are leading the way for making these resources affordable for smaller creators like us. I personally use up to 15 or 20 videos from their site in every video, which would have cost upwards of $1,000 without their service. For just $149 a year, you will have access to thousands of stock videos, images, and audio. There are some premium assets you can purchase separately, but I personally have never had to. Their normal archive has more than I need. You can get a 7-day free trial by going to storyblocks.com/showmakers. That's STORYBLOCKS.com. If you are thinking about making anything online, you should definitely check it out.
I never got these sort of experiences in Ireland.
Neither did I. When I was a kid living in Hawaii, we had nothing. This is all very new to me. This is why I have to keep my childish wonder because I didn't get to experience all these things when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So seeing them now, I have to be like, what? Yeah. The Arctic Circle?
I find I have to put effort into it these days of actually feeling like that, of like, no, I love this stuff. Channel that inner child.
Which island did you grow up on, Hawaii?
I grew up on Kauai, which is the oldest one of the island chain.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I just visited Hawaii for the first time
a
month or so ago.
Which island did you go to?
Maui.
Maui is really cool. It's not uncommon that people visit Maui and Oahu and not Kauai, because Kauai is like,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's the most beautiful. It's the greenest. It's called the Garden Island because it gets the most rain. But interestingly, on one side of the island, it gets a ton of rain and it's super green and very lush. The mountain is the second wettest spot on Earth and gets like 450 inches of rain a year. Crazy amount of rain. And then the other side of the island is completely blocked. So it's really dry. It's almost desert-like. It's really interesting seeing like all these different environments on the same island.
I really want to go there.
Definitely worth
I've
it.
never been to Hawaii.
Kind of far.
Yeah, it seems like a difficult place to get to.
If you ever make it to California, though, it's worth hopping over for a bit.
Oh, it's
do a midwinter trip when you get tired of the dark and cold in Ireland.
The gloom,
which will be soon.
The gloom and doom.
Yeah. Last year it was about mid-October until it got unbearable for me in Scotland.
Yeah. What brought you to Scotland? What was
education? University.
Got it. So you studied there?
Yeah, okay. Still do.
Oh, cool. Are you in school?
Yeah.
Sam is very young.
I'm much younger than everyone thinks.
Despite the confident, deep, booming voice.
Well, that's half the mic. That's half. You can thank the mic for that.
Hey, good technology.
But I'll take it.
Although, I was very impressed with Sam this weekend. He was on a panel at Playlist, and he did incredibly well while sitting next to Instagram stars and Facebook stars that were a little bit self-absorbed.
You're talking about the second one, right?
Yeah, the first one was grand. Other than
well, it's because educational people.
Yeah, the second one, they seemed like nice people, but it was just a bit of a different space to the educational side of kind of just showing off how much they make and stuff.
Yeah.
There were some characters.
That's always fun. I met a really interesting Instagram guy at VidCon. I really liked him, actually. He's like my one run-in with an Instagrammer. But he has a Instagram. You don't call it a channel. I don't know what to call it. Account?
Page? Account?
Page? Yeah. Where with his grandma, where they him and his grandma do ridiculous things. Like they dress up in matching pizza outfits, and his grandma, like he takes his grandma into Hot Topic and dresses her like a gothic star. So it's entertaining. It's definitely different seeing what people do on Instagram and YouTube.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty eye-opening seeing this past weekend at Playlist Live was kind of the first time where I met a lot of people who would identify more as like a social media star or like an Instagrammer rather than a YouTube, where like YouTube is like their side thing.
Yeah.
Almost like how I use Twitter just to like promote my YouTube stuff or talk to the most devoted fans from YouTube.
Yep.
So it was weird to think about YouTube as kind of like the side thing.
Yeah. It's very strange. And sometimes I'll have people email and they're like, hey, do you do, I really like your Facebook page. I wanted to reach out. And I'm like, what? I haven't even looked at that thing since I edited a post that my intern made. I don't even run my Facebook page, to be honest. I have an intern and she does all the posts on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Well, also all signs point to Facebook video maybe becoming a thing. So it's like, might need to start doing that.
I've started doing it. It's no extra work really just to upload it onto YouTube, other than putting that kind of lame letterboxing stuff onto it. So
yeah,
it's something worthwhile doing.
Well, someone we know, or actually that was the last podcast, right?
Wisecrack, yeah.
Yeah. No. Joseph from Real Life Lore. Yeah. He had a video get, I think, like 30 million views off of a freebooted version of his video. Gets 30 million views on Facebook.
Oh, it's rough.
On one hand, that's like rough because obviously he didn't get any kind of promotion or money or anything off of it.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's kind of like a proof of concept that, wow, you can get like a boatload of views from Facebook.
Yeah.
Without that much effort, because it does a better job of promoting things.
Yeah,
Although we did hear from some people who have their Facebook monetized already, and the CPMs are god awful. Like they're saying,
Really?
Well, that's not too surprising.
yeah. But what did it say? They've got like 20 million views or something, and they only got like $2,000, which like 20 million views on YouTube is like $40,000. So
it's because they have the account like literally scrolling past the video and an auto playing as a view. Yeah. So it's a lot less actual eyeballs than it says.
Right.
Than YouTube, I think you need like a full 5 seconds or something to be even counted as a view. If I might be wrong, but
who knows? Sure. But I think you're probably right.
It's interesting either way.
See.
So we're running up to an hour now. Is there anything you would like to talk about or promote for upcoming PhysicsGirls projects?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'm very excited about this video coming out next week about dropping a candle in a box. But that's typically how it goes. I'm excited about what's coming up
how that goes
next week. Nothing else going on really. I finally have stopped traveling for most of this month. Just working on videos, just keeping it going.
But you're planning a trip to France soon.
Yes. I'll be going to that's for a secret event.
Okay. Well, we can cut this out if it's not allowed to be.
No, it's fine. I mean, I think I'll be able to talk about it after it's over. But yeah, secret event in Paris. And then I'm just gonna try to take a vacation for a couple weeks. We'll probably me and my boyfriend, engineer boyfriend, will be traveling around. We're thinking about going to the south of France, and then I might try to stay around for a bit in the UK. And meet up and do some collaborations if I can get my ish together to organize.
Yeah, I feel I haven't. This whole idea of taking a holiday is a bit foreign to me in the last 2 years. Definitely looking forward to the point I can start doing that again.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think that's about it. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, it was great talking to you guys. It's fun to have just normal conversations with YouTubers. I think that's one of my favorite things is meeting everybody that does educational YouTube.
Yeah, all these conversations we do are nice. Sometimes easy to forget that there are a couple thousand people listening to what I'm saying.
Who pays attention to that anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this episode, I need to apologize to everyone listening. There's been people walking by this tiny little bathroom like constantly throughout the video, like clicking pens and talking. So hopefully we can fix this audio.
Haven't heard anything. You're good.
Okay.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming on, and make sure to check out PhysicsGirl on YouTube and other social media platforms. And anything else, Brian?
No, I think that's about it.
Awesome.